of it all, untouchable, a new animal. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another week of LSH Live. I am Jeremy LaRose. This is LSH Live, and we are committed to helping you and your horse get better. So in this video, we're finally free of everyone in the middle, the lunge line, the whole deal. So we've been working hard to get to this point. Hopefully your guys' horses have been coming along as well. We wanted to get off the lunge line, show you guys all the steps that we possibly can along the way, and you guys can follow along and hopefully get a little more comfortable with the entire process. So this process doesn't really change from horse to horse as we go along here. It is one of those things that I've refined over the years. I've started lots and lots and lots of 2-year-olds, and this to me is the easiest way to start them and get all of the parts and pieces that you need and not have a lot of problems as you go. So if you've heard me talk the whole way through, we've talked a lot about how the first 30 days are the most important piece that you can put in your horse, the most important time in their lives, where you teach them to be a good student, you teach them to enjoy their job. It's super, super, super important to me. So hopefully you guys can watch. You can see this horse loping around the lunge line now. You can see how much different he is, how much more stood up he is, how this lope actually has a lot of rhythm, a lot of self-carriage now. It's made our job a ton easier. So we've addressed these issues as we've gone. You see him still come down every now and then, and he steps out. Some of you see me drive him up, push him forward. That's going to fix that. So we still run into some problems from time to time, but this is by far the most complete way to start a 2-year-old that I've developed over the years. So feel free, if you guys are running into problems with your older horses or horses that didn't get started by trainers, or even some that did, feel free to go back through and go through some of these steps and just check and make sure that these grades, these levels weren't skipped in your horse's life, because that's something that's super common, and it's going to run into a lot of problems later on down the road that you're maybe not going to be able to fix unless you go back and fill in these holes. So my program is a complete start to finish program. Every show horse that we've had over the last like 4 or 5 years, I've started, put the first ride on, done all the work on, and then we showed. So if you go back and look at the success of those horses, they were all started this way. Some of the earlier ones, I maybe made some problems, made some holes for myself that I've had to go back and fill in and fix in my own program. But for the most part, this is a complete program. So we want to have horses that we start here, horses that move on through our grades and all the way up into the show pen. So we want to get you guys to understand that it's all the way through. You can't just like pick and choose the things that you like and leave out some of these early stages. So I wanted to show you guys everything that we do, because it's super important that you don't miss things in the beginning. Whether I forget to call it out or we haven't done a video on it yet, every little thing is super important. And I like to think that the success in the show pen is directly related to how well do you do all the little things. So that being said, we are now off the lunge line, off our middle handler person in the middle, and we are on our own out in the arena. So now my goal here is just make this a pleasant, easy ride where he's going to go around, walk, trot, lope, both directions, maybe steer a little bit, and then I'm done. So again, always playing into that horse's natural sense of curiosity, not forcing him to be out there for much longer than needs to be, because he's not going to like it. Remember that getting a horse tired, getting a hold of their mind is a process and not a one-time deal. I see a lot of people go out there and they're like, well, my horse is just really fresh, and they rode him for 2 hours. And all that's going to do is make him not enjoy his job. If I come out here and I say, my horse is just a little bit fresh today, I know I've got 2-3 days of working him down to get his mind where I want it to be. So we will lunge these horses like on Monday, and then we're going to work them the entire week. And by Thursday, they'll be tired enough to really start learning something new. So it's not something that I'm going to work them down on Monday and then start teaching them on Tuesday. Getting a horse tired takes days. So when we prepare for shows, it's not lunge the crap out of them Friday night and Saturday morning and then go show all weekend. It's get them worked down Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You don't want to take your horse to the horse show and have it be running and tearing on the lunge line because it's super fresh Friday night or Saturday morning. So get your horse to where it's ready to go over a process of days over the course of a week. And don't think about like getting your horse ultra tired the day you want to work him. So pretty straightforward ride here. Just want to steer around, just want to practice guiding a little bit. I had the added challenge of a horse riding around me. This horse handled that really well. That can sometimes be kind of a scary issue. So when I'm moving alongside, so like right along here, when I'm beside a horse and that horse is walking next to me, or say it was jogging next to me, or maybe I was loping and it was loping, that's a spot that you might run into some danger with your young horse because it's going to get kind of excited that it has like a friend to run next to, and they usually jump around and they'll get excited about that. And I wanted to avoid that. Luckily, this horse is not 2 years old. He's 4, so he's kind of been around a little bit. He's a little bit more confident, a little less impressionable than some of your 2-year-olds are going to be. But just know that riding in the arena next to somebody and when you go at somebody are going to be 2 spots in your young horse that you're going to kind of have a little bit of handle on before you tackle. So the big thing here, my main objective when I ride, is I'm going to start putting on the tools that I need to address the problems that are in this horse's movement. So in the way that he carries his body, we know he's a little bit weak behind. He wants to shear his back end out of the circle. So he's got to get stronger and he's got to sit on that back end a bit more than he does. So I've got to get the handle on there. What I need is I'm going to start working from the front onto my way back. So we've worked a lot on shoulder control. We've worked a lot on rib control. And getting this horse where I can step into him on a lunge line, move his ribs out, and then cross over his neck with my reins and get him to cross his shoulders over. So remember, when we start these young horses, I need just one step. If I get one step every time I ask for it, then I'm in a good position to get this horse to train up the way I want him to. If he understands that if he gives me one step, I'm done asking, then we're going to make progress really fast. So to me, it is much more about asking 1,000 times and getting 1,000 responses than asking one time and getting 1,000 steps afterwards. So I just need consistent, repeatable results. I need to know that when called upon, this horse knows the correct answer. So the example that I've given in all my clinics for you guys at home listening is I'll ask my people, what is 5 times 5? And they'll say 25, and it'll take that little bit of pause in there. And then I'll say, what is 5 times 5? And they'll go 25. And I'll say, what's 5 times 5? They'll say 25. What's 5 times 5? And now they're going to question. Now they're going to go, wait, why is he asking me this? And that's the moment that we're looking for with our horse. I want him to know and ask, wait, why are you asking me this? And then I'll just say, good boy. Good job. That's exactly what I wanted to know. And the more I ask, the faster he gets after he gets over that hump of questioning. So when you ask at first, these young horses, they're not going to know the answer. You're going to show them, you're going to say, good job. So you might have to work through the problem a little bit. You might not be able to get 25 right off the bat. Sometimes you're going to ask him, what is 5 times 5? And he's going to have to count on his hands and toes trying to get the right answer. And that's okay. I give him time to figure it out. But the next time I ask him, as long as I ask the same exact way, he should give me that response quicker and quicker. There's going to be a learning curve there. There's going to be a hump that they have to get over where they get the right answer a few times and then they're going to question why they have to do it. And you just stay committed to the maneuver and then they'll get it right every single time after that very quickly. That's the premise of these young horses. That's the whole idea behind this, what I'm doing here in these young horses and the way I ride and the way I ask. It's consistent, repeatable things over and over again until they get the right answer every time they're called upon. If I can teach him to cross his right leg over his left one time and get it right every time, then I can teach him to cross his right leg over his left twice by asking 2 times. I can do it 3 times by asking 3 times. I can do it 4 times, 5 times, 10 times. And now I have a horse that does a horsemanship spin. So that's how this builds. It's really hard to get the first couple steps, the first couple transitions, the first couple, whatever it is you're asking for. But once you get the first one, you're like a snowball building momentum. So that's what I'm really looking for here. I'll just ask for my turn and then resume a neutral position with my reins until I go to ask for the next turn. A lot of people run into problems here when they come off the lunge line because they're constantly trying to steer. I would rather divide this circle into 1,000 little steers than just lean on this horse the whole way through. So you'll see my hands go from here, slightly up and over to the right, and back to the middle. From here, slightly up right there, over to the right, and then back to the middle. And then here, over the right, and then back to the middle. So you see, all I'm looking for here is for him to maintain the pace that he's at, the cadence and the rhythm that he's at. I just pay attention to that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 as he goes along. And I'll just remember how his legs are going. And if we're making progress, great. And as long as we're not slowing down at this stage, I'm super satisfied. I do not want him to be sucking back or slowing down as I steer. Because what all that means is that when I apply pressure with his reins, his back legs stop coming forward, which is very, very bad. We're going to use a lot of circles and a lot of up and over with his shoulders to rock him back onto his back end and get him to step through and have to use himself more. If he figures out here in the beginning that he can stop moving his back end forward and not have to drive his hock up when we lift his shoulders up, then we're going to run into a lot of problems down the road. I need a horse that will rock over his hips and keep his back legs moving. So remember that we will slow these horses down much later on down the road. What is so important right now in the beginning is that you do not lose impulsion when you go to steer. So now that I'm off the lunge line and Macy's not there, it becomes a little bit harder to do that. Every horse is going to have a natural cruise control speed that they want to go at. Some horses' cruise control is set to 70, some horses' cruise control is set to 55, and some horses are speed demons. Peanut was a speed demon when we first started her. So you guys can understand how she slowed down a lot over the course of our videos, but she did not start that way. She was just wanted to go places, had a big engine, needed to go somewhere. And that's okay because it's made her really good behind as we've moved through the training process. We've not had to add drive to her because it's always been there. Some of these other horses and some horses that you're going to run into, some personality types that you deal with are horses that will stop their back end coming forward when you steer. It's a big problem. It's something you're going to want to get ahead of right away. So I don't allow these horses to suck back as I steer, because that to me is a really bad habit and it causes a lot more problems than it fixes as we go on to teach these horses other things. Marley was the kind of horse that didn't want to go forward. It made for awesome videos come March and April. We looked like we were way ahead of the game, but we've spent more time trying to teach her to go forward now to overcome those problems now that we're teaching her other classes. So to me personally, and this is everybody's different, I think it is much easier to capture up a shoulder and a chin and teach a horse to drive to its face that already has a ton of drive. It's really hard to teach a horse to drive to its face if it's wanting to die out behind. So what I want to know, especially my young show horses, is what kind of engine do they have? What kind of drive do they have to keep that back end coming forward? Because if it wants to die out now, we're going to be in a big battle going forward down the road. So watching this ride, this is going fairly well. No major problems. There's a little one rein stop right there. I will one rein stop them to the right and the left as I see fit. It's a little easier to stop to the inside than it is the outside. So he will go back and forth. I'll do a lot either way. And then at the end of this ride, I'll just do a little bit of steering. So now that I've done my basic, and it shouldn't look any different than what he's used to, right? My basic ride here has gone walk, trot, lope, both directions a few times, and that's it. So I don't need to make this a big difference now that he's off the lunge line. I want this ride to be exactly what he's used to, minus Macy in the middle. So if I get that, I'm super satisfied. All my ride right now needs to be is establishing this horse a little bit of steering and his cruise control. So if he can establish his cruise control, his natural speed, and I can learn that in this horse, then we can train from there. What's really important to me is that we give this horse time to find his natural pace before we ever start asking for his face or ask for anything in terms of shape or body position or anything like that. I do not want this horse to be forced into this awkward man-made gear, because if you don't have that true lope to fall back on, you're going to have a heck of a time getting someone else to ride this horse. If he's super used to the way I carry him around, my amateurs and my riders that come behind me cannot get him to go around. So I want to have a complete package that becomes a show horse for a long time, not something that's tricked together and makes the show pen in Western Pleasure and then is it, and it's done after its 2 or 3 year old year. So if you look at the success of my horses from my career, it's not how it's gone. That's not the type of horse I create. It's not the type of clients I want. It's not the business that I've made for myself. If my horses make 2-year-old show horses, fantastic. If they don't, we are training for a complete package and no holes down the road. So this horse, he's doing great for his first time off the lunge line. I'm super satisfied with this. I'm going to go around just working a little bit on my directions here, working a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. If I notice a problem, say he hung on me a little bit going to the right, I'll visit it again. So I kind of try to work like a 75-25%. I'll work 75% of my ride his bad way and 25% the good way. So you see how I stayed in there for my stop until he quit moving his feet, turn loose, reach down, pet him, and make an assessment. If I reach down and pet this horse and he's dancing all over the place, my energy level is too high and I've got to reassess what I'm doing. So you got to really pay attention to your horse and you got to know their personality. A great horse trainer is doing the opposite of their horse's personality. If he's fired up, I need to be super calm. If he's really calm, I need to be a little bit fired up. So I want to find that happy medium and I want to stay there as much as possible. Overall, this is a great first time off the lunge line. I'm super satisfied with the way he's able to take all of his transitions without Macy being there. I'm very impressed with how he rode around with other horses in the arena with him and super happy with this ride. So this is about as good as you can expect. Shouldn't be a lot different than this. Your horse's ride should be very simple, very straightforward if you've done your homework leading up to this point. So that first ride should not be bouncing off the walls, should be pretty in control, and you should start just getting control of your horse's parts and pieces. So this is going to be like 2 rides like this, and then we're going to start pushing him in out of that circle. So you'll see me swing wide, sometimes cut in. It's on purpose. I have a plan for where I'm riding. Sometimes I'll swing out on the circle. Sometimes I'll try to cut in, just doing little steers at a time here. So like there's a short side circle, and here's going to be a short side. A, to give myself some room away from that horse, and B, because it's good for him to start learning how to steer. So this was my standard ride. It was a 15-minute lunge, maybe 10, 15-minute lunge, and then a 15-minute ride. That's it. That's my 30 minutes for the day. So super satisfied with that. Horse is very relaxed. I'm going to touch on some of my steering here, a little bit of crossing over those front legs, and just make it really simple, right? So lay that rein on his neck, a little outside leg tap, get him across, there, out. There, out, cross, there, out, cross, little sticky, pulling on my hands, there's a cross, out. And that's just how it goes. I'm going to refine that over the course of weeks, and we will have a turnaround within probably 6 rides. So I want to get that turnaround as quickly as possible and teach him to roll back over that back end so I can get that back end a little bit stronger. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys. Everything you guys have done for us is amazing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little live video I did. If you haven't followed along on Facebook, we do live videos from time to time. If I find something interesting, if we're up to something cool, I will share it with you guys. This week has been the Idaho Academy of Equine Dentistry, getting to see everything they're doing and recognize the importance of dentistry in your horses, and especially the importance of having a trained equine dentist to do it. So if you guys didn't know, veterinarians typically get like 3 days of instruction on dentistry. It's an elective course, and so it's not nearly as focused as an equine dentist. I highly recommend getting a trained equine dentist to do your horses. We had a 2-year-old come into the clinic the other day, and it literally couldn't move its mouth. So this is a March baby now. So at this point, we've been riding this horse for 60 days, and it literally couldn't move its mouth. So get your horses checked. Dentistry cannot be understated. Super important to me. I didn't realize how important it was until I came out here and saw everything. So just like you guys, I continue to try to learn every single day, try to be better. So awesome. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you in the next video.
Too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made.